Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
A woman is under arrest after a stabbing at a Raleigh apartment complex. The WRAL breaking news tracker is there on the scene, and an update just moments away.
And an Air India plane on its way to London this morning with more than 240 passengers has crashed. I'm going to tell you what the city police chief there in India has just said about this crash.
And it's a fairly comfortable morning. Our dew points have been dropping, but very quickly it gets hot and humid and will add in a better chance for storms. I'll show you the weekend forecast.
And nationwide protests, more anti-ICE demonstrations are popping up across the country. We'll tell you where we are seeing new protests and how officials are responding.
Plus demonstrations in Raleigh. The Triangle is one of the many areas that have seen large anti-ICE protests. So we're going to hear from protesters and lawmakers about this ongoing debate. Admittedly, we'll be starting our newscast with some pretty heavy stories this morning. But first, we just want to say thank you so much for joining us and good morning. You're watching WRAL News on Fox 50. I'm Chris Lovingood.
And I'm Michelle McConaughey. Yeah, let's start a little lighter. Let's start with some weather outside. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner is outside on the WRAL weather patio. It's nice out there.
It is. It's comfortable. You know, we really moved into a very muggy pattern about a week ago, and we've got a little bit of a break this morning. It's a small break, but boy, by tomorrow, we're going to see that humidity really climbing quickly. As you're heading out the door this morning, it's mostly sunny to partly cloudy. It's looking real pretty here in downtown Raleigh. 75 is our temperature, and our dew point's in the 60s, barely, but we're climbing into the mid 70s for tomorrow, so it'll feel really sticky out. 75 in the Triangle, 73 in Fayetteville, 66 still in Roxborough. Our temperatures are pretty close to where they were yesterday, 1 or 2 degrees cooler, so not a big change. This afternoon and evening in particular, we'll have the potential for a few isolated thunderstorms, especially in our southern counties. We'll walk through futurecasts coming up. Yes, it is going to be a hot afternoon. We'll see a high of 91. An increased chance for storms over the weekend means slightly cooler temperatures. I'll walk you through the timeline for the rain.
Well, this is what's happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We have this crash just being reported on I-40 westbound coming in from the Garner area. You can see it's causing some delays. I'll keep an eye on it in just a few minutes. I'll let you know how that's going to continue to affect your morning commute. As we isolate the Beltline, you can see the huge congestion on the southern loop of the Beltline starting at Lake Wheeler Road, and also on those northern loop of the Beltline, those I-80 coming off those I-87 lanes. You're seeing a little bit of a slowdown. And here's what it looks like, courtesy of a live cam network, as we look live at I-440 and New Bern Avenue this morning. That southern loop of the Beltline I just told you about, you're looking at a 5-minute delay from Capitol Boulevard all the way to the Beltline. That Johnston County time, maybe a little off, but I'll check on it and let you know because of that crash I just told you about. That you're using Wade Avenue to get to Durham this morning, all delay free. Here's what we're looking like if you're coming into the capital city on some of those major routes. You're looking at a 4-minute delay coming in from Wake Forest. It's a 3-minute delay coming in from Nightdale. You're looking very little to no delays going into the Bull City, but I do want to isolate I-885 this morning because if you're going into Durham, taking those northbound lanes of I-885, you're looking at an 8-minute delay. But heading to I-40 from 885, you're just looking at a 4-minute delay. You're getting ready to head into the cartoonist in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
All right, Ken, thank you. We are following some breaking news. A large police presence is at an apartment complex in North Raleigh. Ali Kadlabar is at the Somerset Place Apartments. Ali, you got there about an hour ago. You're in the WRAL breaking news tracker. What do we know right now?
Yeah, and just in the past 5 minutes, we've started to see that scene start to clear. We've seen officers start to leave, but we want to take you right to that scene. You can see police tape blocking off that area. That's where officers found a man stabbed in the chest. Officers say that a woman was arrested. The man was taken to the hospital. This all happened around 6:20 this morning. They did confirm that it was a domestic assault and a stabbing as well. So we are seeing that police tape still there, investigators still here trying to figure out what happened. We are still working to learn the identity of the woman who was detained, and we are still working to find out the condition of the male victim as well. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Kadlabar, WRAL News.
We're also following this breaking story. In the last 90 minutes, a Boeing 787 bound for London crashed shortly after takeoff from India. 244 people were aboard that plane, including people from India, the UK, Portugal, and Canada. Authorities say the plane crashed into a residential building near the airport. And we have been watching that very closely in the WRAL Live Center. That is where we find WRAL's Jeff Hogan.
Yeah, Chris, thanks. It's near a medical school is where this crash went down. And this video is so disturbing to watch as they're trying to put the fire out. Folks are trying to come and see if there can be any rescue efforts. The latest information we have just in the last few minutes, the police commissioner there in that city in India said there appears to be no survivors out of this crash. It has been 5 years since the last major passenger crash like this. A Boeing 787 Dreamliner that the BBC is reporting is the first time an aircraft of that size, that make, has come down in a manner like this. So it has experts saying that this crash has some surprising aspects to it. So those are some of the things that they'll be looking into as we continue to follow this story. The pilots did give a Mayday call to air traffic control shortly after takeoff before this came down. Still no word on how many people on the ground were injured or killed out of this.
Just so devastating. All right, thank you, Jeff. New video overnight of anti-ICE protests. This here is video out of Seattle. Demonstrators blocking traffic for hours, and a dumpster fire broke out in the middle of an intersection. This is all part of ongoing immigration protests spreading across the country. Hundreds of people have been arrested in Los Angeles, and demonstrators are being detained in places like New York and Pennsylvania. A second straight night of a curfew is in effect for LA as demonstrations have continued for nearly a week there. That curfew is set to end at 6 a.m. local time, so that's 9 a.m. our time. In New York, police there say they have detained more than 80 protesters, with more than 30 being charged with assault. Meanwhile, in Texas, demonstrators marched to San Antonio City Hall last night as Governor Greg Abbott sent the Texas National Guard to monitor that situation. Around a dozen states from coast to coast, including our own, have experienced large-scale protests and marches.
And hundreds of people, Michelle, took to the streets of downtown Raleigh in opposition to the Trump administration's immigration policies. Sky 5 captured the large crowds above Moore Square, and our team was on the ground hearing from people who were involved in this. Demonstrators we spoke with say they were there to take a stand against what they call an attack on immigrant communities. And this protest also happened just days after state lawmakers passed a Senate bill requiring state and local cooperation with ICE officials. Protesters criticized this bill while Republicans defend it.
Police agents to act as ICE is honestly sickening, I would say.
The public sentiment is that folks that are here illegally should be removed from the country for the most part.
And more protests are set to happen this weekend across the state, including several in the Triangle area. Now, as we have seen new inflation numbers, we're waiting to hear more regarding data that would shed a light on the state of our economy. WRAL's Kelsey Coffey is here to explain a little bit more. Kelsey, what numbers are we expecting, and what exactly will they tell us?
Yes, Chris. So this morning, within the next 30 minutes or so, we should get another glimpse into the state of our economy. Earlier this week, we learned that inflation is starting to creep up, and that could impact the prices we pay here at the grocery store. Inflation went up 0.1% from April to May. That's less than what economists expected.
And this is where kind of digging into the details matters.
That's UNC economic professor Gerald Cohen. He says that small increase is likely a result of tariffs, and prices will go up even more. 5 on Your Side checked in with shoppers about how they're dealing with the uptick in prices.
Everything's so high, but I mean, a lot of it, what can you do? I never thought I'd pay $5 for a loaf of bread.
Cohen says tariffs can impact several industries here in North Carolina, like biotech, textiles, and agriculture. And a new economic report is set to be released in less than 30 minutes. So we'll be sure to keep you updated on those results in the WRAL Live Center. Kelsey Coffey, WRAL News, live in Cary.
We could learn this morning whether Jet Zero has chosen North Carolina for a massive factory. The California jet maker has been scouting sites for a facility that would employ more than 10,000 people. The company has been considering a site in Greensboro and was expected to make a final decision this month. State and local officials are planning a major economic development announcement at Piedmont Triad International Airport this afternoon after state and local officials hold special meetings to discuss incentives for an undisclosed company. If it is Jet Zero, it could be one of the biggest job commitments in state history.
Your time is 8:09. Partial evacuations. Non-essential personnel have been asked to leave the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. What we know about that developing situation.
And it's graduation season. Area schools are hosting ceremonies this week. What you should know before you arrive.
And today may end up being the driest day of the next 5. We do have a small chance for thunderstorms this evening. I'll show you who has the best chance of seeing rain today. 8:12 out here on the patio, looking at a lot of sunshine up above me, a lot of blue sky, a few high thin clouds. We'll see the clouds thickening up a little bit later on today. Right now it is 69 in Wilson, 75 in Durham, and 73 in Fayetteville. You can see sunshine all across the viewing area. We do have a small chance for showers and thunderstorms around dinner time up until maybe around 11 o'clock, mainly in our southern or southwestern counties. Most of us won't end up seeing any rain today. Today could be the driest day that we'll see of the next 5 days, however. If you're headed out to Gibson Play Plaza there in Dix Park, which is just a fantastic place, it is going to be a hot afternoon. Highs will be in the low 90s. There are a lot of water features to get into with the kids, so make sure you take along their bathing suits if you're headed there. We'll talk more about our increased chances for rain this weekend coming up.
Happening now in the WRAL traffic center, we have some congestion building on some of our major routes, including I-885 coming out of Durham this morning, as well as the northern and southern loop of the Beltline. We're also monitoring this crash down here in the Garner area. This is a serious crash on Highway 401 near the Highway 70 interchange. You see the huge delays it's causing. If you're coming in from Southern Wake County this morning, always know you have Lake Wheeler Road as an alternate route to come into the capital city. You're getting ready to head out the door because traffic is constantly changing. Tune us in on the radio, 101.5 HD3.
Quote, no fat soldiers, no political opposition to the president, end quote. Those are the criteria for selecting soldiers for those prime seats directly behind President Trump during his remarks at Fort Bragg this week. That's according to an internal 82nd Airborne Communications note. This story was first reported by military.com, and they also reported about a Trump merchandise shop that was set up to sell shirts and other items. In fact, WRAL spoke with the website's national security correspondent who says the Army traditionally tries to position itself as apolitical, which is why he says this event prompted his sources to raise the alarm.
The way some of these troops behave would likely violate a whole host of Defense Department regulations, which effectively prohibit partisan activity in uniform. And that is what was so shocking about this event in particular.
In a statement to WRAL, an 18th Airborne spokesperson says, quote, the Army does not endorse political merchandise or the views it represents. The vendor's presence is under review to determine how it was permitted and to prevent similar occurrences in the future. President Donald Trump walked the red carpet with First Lady Melania at the John F. Kennedy Center. The couple was there for the opening night of Les Miserables. Last night's show also was a fundraiser. People paid up to $2 million for a gold level experience. That included premier seats, a photo with the president, and a VIP reception. Back in February, the president appointed himself the chairman of the Kennedy Center. Several Les Mis cast members boycotted that show. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. appointed 8 new members of the CDC Vaccine Advisory Panel. Several of these people were critical of the government's COVID-19 response. Now, this happened just days after he removed the previous 17-member panel. He said there was a conflict of interest. The panel helps shape national vaccine policy, and the group is expected to meet next month. Kennedy says the panel will not endorse new recommendations without, quote, definitive safety and efficacy data.
People are back in their homes in Ohio after a chemical leak at an explosives manufacturing plant that prompted an evacuation order. Officials say 3,000 gallons of chemicals leaked from the Austin powder plant in southeastern Ohio. The chemicals reacted with the air to create nitric oxide. An evacuation order for people who live nearby was lifted about 9 hours later. And a familiar face from MTV's golden era has passed away. Ananda Lewis, a beloved VJ and talk show host, was 52 years old. She helped shape a generation of music fans in the 1990s as the host of MTV Live. Last October, in a CNN interview, she revealed she was battling stage 4 breast cancer. She became a powerful voice for breast cancer awareness.
Well, messages of condolences for her this morning on social media. New this morning, the North Carolina Community Foundation's Hurricane Helene Recovery Fund is $20,000 richer. Amazon made the donation to emergency management officials at its fulfillment center in Garner. The officials also got a tour of the facility's logistics operations and disaster relief capabilities. More than 12,000 students are expected to graduate across Wake County this week. Wake County Public Schools are urging families to arrive early for the ceremonies and to be aware of the procedures. One woman in Wilson County says she missed her daughter's graduation at Fike High School over the weekend. She was not let in the door after arriving only a few minutes before the ceremony there. She's now urging other parents not to make that same mistake.
For her to work as hard as she did, and for me not to hear her name and see her walk across stage, it did hurt. It hurt real bad.
In a statement, a Wilson County Public Schools official says that they made parents aware they were not able to enter the ceremony less than 10 minutes before it started. In Wake County, families will be allowed to enter throughout the ceremony, but they are encouraged to find a seat 15 minutes in advance.
We are getting our first look at the footprint of a new Disney development in Chatham County. Pittsboro town leaders unanimously approved the neighborhood map for the first phase of Asteria. It shows developers how they will fit 494 homes, single family, multifamily, and townhomes into 175 acres. There's also room for future mixed use development. When it's complete, developers say Asteria will cover 1,500 acres and include 4,000 homes.
It's sea turtle nesting season on the North Carolina coast, and an organization called Network for Endangered Sea Turtles, or NEST, shared this video of a Kemp's Ridley sea turtle laying her nest in Corolla. The Kemp's Ridley is the most endangered sea turtle in the world. NEST says that this is the 5th nest on the northern Outer Banks so far this year. The mama laid her eggs and then went back into the ocean 20 minutes later.
The city of Raleigh has a request. Please park properly at the Gibson Play Plaza. The huge playground just opened up at Dix Park. It's already very popular, so much so that the city posted this not so subtle reminder to think before you park. On the weekdays, you can only park in public parking locations marked by one of these signs with a large P. Do not park in the designated DHHS spots. They still have to work while you are enjoying the park. So a very important message there. But maybe a good day to go out to Gibson Play Plaza. Meteorologist Elizabeth Garter out on the WRAL patio. You said this day is probably going to be the driest out of the next 5.
And around the triangle, our chance for showers and thunderstorms pretty minimal. It's likely to be more our southern counties that see those showers and storms. So absolutely going to be a nice day to get outside and go to Gibson Play Park. There is a lot of water there, a lot of water features. So, take the bathing suit for the kids, just let them go, take a towel. Our next weather maker, that high pressure system that starts off there and kind of falls off the map, is definitely weakening. But it delivered overnight a small break in our humidity. And I mean, a small one. And it only lasts until, well, maybe later on today or tonight. Here's a look at our chance for showers and thunderstorms. There's 2 o'clock in the afternoon. We may see some increasing clouds. At 5 o'clock, it's still to our west. But between 7 and 8, we start to see a few scattered showers and storms in our southern or southwestern counties, and that ends around midnight or so. This is a look at our tower camera here, and you can see the tower there in our backyard. Just a little bit of cloud cover, but not much. 75 is our temperature. Dew point 69, so it has started to creep up. Earlier this morning, it was in the mid-60s, so starting to feel a touch more humid. Mid-70s in the Triangle, 73 in South Hill, it's 72 in Holly Springs, 71 degrees in Garner. Around town, it is going to be a hot afternoon. Highs will be in the low 90s. Our muggy meter really climbs Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday, back into the mid-70s, so that does feel oppressively muggy and sticky and humid and uncomfortable. Our heat building this week, of course, does mean that we'll see a high heat index as well. Saturday at 97, Sunday at 100, those are likely to be the days that the heat index is higher. Capital City Juneteenth celebration happens at Dix Park on Saturday from 2 to 6. And it looks like we do have a good chance for showers and thunderstorms mid to late afternoon. So if you're headed there, make sure you've downloaded the WRAL weather app. And it'll let you know if we have alerts coming in. Even we'll tell you if rain is about to move into your area. Over the holiday weekend, temperatures will be in the upper 80s, a little bit cooler than today. That's because of our increased chance for showers and storms. Looking at a 60% chance on Saturday and an 80% chance on Sunday. I'll show you how much rain we could see total coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We've been monitoring this crash down in the Garner area. You can see it right here. It's on Highway Highway 401 coming in the northbound lanes right near the Highway 70 interchange. You can see the huge delays it's causing. So if you're coming in from southern Wake County this morning, it stands to reason that you probably want to take Lake Wheeler Road as an alternate route to avoid what's happening there on Highway 401 coming in the northbound lanes. As we isolate the Beltline, you can see the huge congestion happening on the southern loop of the Beltline beginning on Lake Wheeler. You come off those I-87 lanes onto those northern loop of the Beltline around New Bern Avenue. Here's what you're looking at. Things will be really beginning to slow down there in that northbound lane. So keep that in mind as you're about to head out this morning. I-40 and Jones Sausage Road, if you're coming in from Garner, Johnston County, clear sailing in both directions, especially if you want to get to the coast this morning. Other routes coming into the capital city, here's what we're looking at. Very little to no delays. You're just looking at a 4-minute delay if you're coming in from Wake Forest this morning.
All right, thank you, Ken. Concealed carry repeal changes to state law are headed to the governor's desk, but the potential new rules surrounding being able to carry a gun.
And tonight, health coverage. Don't give up. Later in the hour, 5 on your side's Keely Arthur will walk you through appealing to your insurer.
As you get into your car, tune to WRAL News Plus on your radio. In Raleigh on 99.3 FM. In Durham, 96.5 FM. And everywhere on 101.5 HD3.
Good morning and happy Thursday. Time now is 8:26. I'm Michelle McConaughey. It's a beautiful start to our Thursday. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner out on the WRAL weather patio. No rain yet, Elizabeth.
No rain yet. Our southern counties, southwestern counties could see some isolated showers and thunderstorms. We'll start off with a live look at RDU. Just a few high, thin clouds out there. Those will probably build a bit later in the afternoon. And around 7 or 8 o'clock, we can start to see some showers and thunderstorms developing in our southern counties. It's just a 30% chance for today, but it really starts to climb. Our chances go way up for Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It'll be a hot afternoon. If you're hoping to do some exercise outside, you want to get that done as early as you can.
Happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center, we have a handful of crashes donning our live traffic map this morning, but what I want to bring your attention to, this one down here on Highway 401 there in the Garner area. You can see the huge delays it's causing. I'll tell you, if you're coming in from southern Wake County this morning, you probably want to take Lake Wheeler Road as an alternate route as well. The other issue that we're dealing with is a crash on I-885 in the southbound lane. You can see it right here off to the shoulder of the road. I'll have an update on your morning commute, particularly this crash coming up at the bottom of the hour over on Fox 50.
Thanks, Ken. Another key inflation report due out this morning. The Producer Price Index tracks the prices that producers and manufacturers receive for their goods from retailers and distributors. Many companies have been holding off on price increases to see how trade negotiations evolved. And this afternoon, Governor Stein expected to make an economic announcement at Greensboro's Piedmont Triad Airport. We could learn if Jet Zero is building a factory that would bring 10,000 jobs to our state. Up next on Fox 50, how much more you can expect to pay on your next Raleigh water bill. And coming up next on Today, one-on-one with Gerard Butler on how to train your dragon.
Now, breaking news from WRAL. Coverage you can count on.
We are following a breaking news story this morning. We are on the scene of a stabbing at a North Raleigh apartment complex. What the WRAL Breaking News Tracker learned in the last 30 minutes.
Air India flight bound for London crashed just after takeoff this morning. I'll tell you what is being done at London Gatwick Airport that was expecting that flight to land.
In breaking the curfew, police arrest more than 30 protesters in Spokane during 2 immigration protests. A look at demonstrations here in Raleigh.
And we do have a small chance for showers and thunderstorms late today. Not for everybody. I'll show you which part of the viewing area is more likely to see the storms.
Thank you so much for sticking with us here on your Thursday morning, June 12th. I'm Michelle McConaughey.
I'm Chris Levingood. I really thought today was going to be a day I could take Jordy in the stroller, walk around the neighborhood.
You were just talking about that.
Not the day for that, Elizabeth. It's going to be a hot one today.
It is, but you know, Chris, sometimes you just have to do it because it's going to be hot until October. So, you know, you can't do it until the afternoon because you're here at work. But hopefully you can find, you know, a window here or there, maybe this evening. We'll take a live look at the gardens behind me. Beautiful sunshine out here right now. It's fairly comfortable, but it's not going to be that way, you know, necessarily all day. We take a look at what's happening across our area and definitely looking at the conditions deteriorating a little bit. We've got the potential for some hotter temperatures this this afternoon up to around 90. 75 is our current temperature. Our dew points at 69, looking at 73 in Fayetteville and 68 up in Roxborough. So a bit of a wide range in our temperatures. We're sitting pretty close to where we were this time yesterday, just a couple of degrees cooler. And we do have that chance of some afternoon and evening thunderstorms. It'll mostly be in our southern or southwestern counties right around dinner time or just after into the evening. Hour by hour forecast for today, we do climb into the low 90s and it'll feel like low to mid 90s. We do have a better chance for showers and thunderstorms over the weekend. I'll show you which day looks the wettest coming up.
What is happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center? We've got a handful of incidents dotting our live traffic map this morning, but there are a couple I want to bring your attention to, particularly this one on I-885 in the southbound lane near Ellis Road. You can see the huge delays it's causing all the way back to Cornwallis Road. And here's what it looks like right here. It's off to the shoulder of the road, I should say, the median of that road in terms of a couple of vehicles involved. What you're seeing probably is just like onlooker delay. We do have a disabled vehicle near the Brentwood Road exit, not far from the I-440 and New Bern Avenue, causing a little bit of a delay, but nothing really that's going to really slow down traffic at any point this morning. Here's what we're looking at in terms of that I-885. You're heading into Durham this morning. In and out, you're looking at a 15-minute delay if you're heading into Durham, a 13-minute delay if you're using I-885 to get to I-40.
All right, thank you, Ken. We do want to get back to this breaking news story. We're gathering information regarding a stabbing at an apartment complex in North Raleigh. In fact, Ali Kavdabar arrived there about 30 or so minutes ago in the WRAL breaking news tracker. Ali, you've learned quite a bit since you arrived there.
Yes, and just in the past 30 minutes, we've seen investigators deeper into that wooded area, crowded around an apartment unit. And we know that down there in that area is where officers found a man stabbed in the chest. Now, we want to take you to this video from the WRAL breaking news tracker. You can see police tape surrounding that wooded area, as well as multiple officers and EMS on the scene. Raleigh police tell me that officers came out here around 6:20 this morning when they saw a man stabbed in the chest. They also arrested a woman on the scene. Now, we don't have a status yet of the man who was stabbed, of his condition right now, but we are working to find out the identity of the woman arrested for this stabbing. Oh, I just see right now Wake County Bureau of Forensic Services getting to the scene right now. So, of course, this investigation is still underway. We are working to bring you the very latest. Reporting in Raleigh, Ali Kavdabar, WRAL News.
And we want to get back to that breaking news story in India. An Air India flight with more than 200 people on board crashed overnight. This was a flight aboard a Boeing 787. That's according to FlightAware. Boeing says it is aware of reports of the crash. Jeff Hogan watching that story develop in the WRAL Live Center. Jeff.
And Michelle, we're just getting some brand new live feeds coming into the Live Center. And I want to take you right to this because this is the first and closest look that I think we have had with the police tape up. And we're at the mercy of wherever this camera takes us right now. But that originally was a picture that we were seeing right there that looked like major part of the crash site where firefighters battled fires this morning when that 787 Dreamliner went down. And Michelle, you mentioned it, that Dreamliner, it has a stellar reputation. It was this is the first recorded crash in that type of plane's history. Boeing has made a statement. It says it stands ready to help support Air India. And you see the crowds that have gathered and the damage all around there that has taken place. This plane was on its way to London's Gatwick Airport. There was a Mayday call right after takeoff and no further response from there. London Gatwick Airport has set up a reception area for relatives who would be coming to presumably pick up relatives that were going to be showing up there. As we mentioned, police have said there were likely no survivors, but as we also feared, police also said that there are likely a lot of locals on the ground who would have been killed in this crash.
Goodness. And just imagine the anguish of the family members of those who were on the plane. Goodness. Thanks, Jeff. Now to the immigration protests spreading across the nation. While you were sleeping, the mayor of Spokane declared a state of emergency following ICE protests, and a curfew began at 9:30 last night. However, many people filled the streets, disrupting downtown traffic. Officers also arrested about 30 people. Here in Raleigh, hundreds of demonstrators took a stand against what they call an attack on immigrant communities. Police monitored demonstrations, which remained largely peaceful and uninterrupted. More events across the Triangle are planned for Saturday.
The State Department is preparing to evacuate non-essential personnel from the U.S. Embassy in Iraq. The White House says this is due to heightened security risks, and the president is aware of the decision. It is not clear what is prompting the security concerns, but it comes as tensions are mounting with Iran over the nuclear program. An Iraqi government official says Baghdad is unaware of any threats that would warrant the evacuation.
Happening today, Governor Josh Stein is expected to make an economic announcement in Greensboro. State, local leaders, even the company being quiet right now about this announcement, but we are told that it's happening at the Piedmont Triad Airport. WRAL is told Jet Zero, a company that makes futuristic, fuel-efficient jets, could be bringing a factory to North Carolina, and that would bring 10,000 jobs to our state. That announcement is happening at 1 o'clock this afternoon. And of course, you can count on WRAL to bring you updates on our developing story on this that we're covering. You can tune in to our evening newscast beginning at 4 p.m.
Today marks 9 years since 49 people were gunned down in the Pulse nightclub in Orlando, Florida. Survivors and family members of the victims were allowed to walk through the long-shuttered LGBTQ+ friendly venue for the first time. Very few people other than investigators have been inside the structure until last night. No photos or video recordings were allowed during this emotional visit.
It's very heartbreaking. To know that my son took his last breath right there within that small space, that so many kids died that night.
The city of Orlando purchased the property in 2023. It plans to build a $12 million permanent memorial, which will open in 2027.
The NTSB will hold 3 days of hearings next month into the deadly mid-air collision of an American Airlines regional jet and an Army helicopter. You'll recall 67 people died in that crash above D.C. The agency also announced that it expects to complete its investigation by the tragedy's one-year anniversary. The NTSB is reportedly making progress on that case, but it still needs to access some of the FAA's data. President Donald Trump's nominee to lead the Federal Aviation Administration says there is a lack of strategic vision and competent leadership in the agency, but he would change that. Senators grilled Brian Bedford on critical safety-related issues, including the required hours needed for pilots and the ongoing problems at Ronald Reagan Washington National Airport. Bedford reiterated his top priority, quote, will be public safety and restoring the public's confidence in flying.
Princeville is the oldest town in America founded by enslaved people, but the town was nearly destroyed by Hurricane Floyd in 1999 and again by Matthew in 2016. Tonight, the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers will hold a public meeting to discuss the progress on the Princeville Flood Risk Management Project. The meeting takes place at Princeville Town Hall on South Main Street. The discussion begins at 6 p.m. And Duke Health is expanding its medical campus in Cary. This morning, the hospital breaks ground on the next phase of the facility that includes a new 40-bed hospital. In addition to the beds, there will be more operating rooms and equipment used to treat cancer patients. The groundbreaking takes place at 10 this morning. Duke hopes to have the next phase open by 2027.
Changes to the state's concealed weapons law are on their way to the governor's desk. Lawmakers passed a bill repealing the need for a concealed carry permit for anyone 18 and older. Supporters say the bill does not change who can buy a gun. It simply does away with the need for government permission to carry it concealed. Critics, including some Republicans who did not vote for the bill, say the changes would endanger public safety. In fact, 29 states already allow some form of permitless carry. Governor Josh Stein will likely veto that bill. Starting July 1st, your Raleigh water bill will be going up. Charges for water and wastewater will go up about 4%, and that's an average monthly increase of about $2. The increase was approved in the 2026 fiscal year budget.
Denied health coverage? Do not give up. Only on WRAL News 5 on your sides, Keely Arthur walks you through appealing your insurer, how your doctor can help make your case, and what to do if the insurance company still says no.
Plus, protecting player rankings, how a new rule established by the Women's Tennis Association expands existing support programs.
And it is a warm start to our Thursday as we look live over Chapel Hill this morning, and there's hot weather ahead. Meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner back after the break with a timeline of when temperatures will be climbing into the 90s.
8:44, time to start thinking about the weekend. We'll take a live look at Wilmington, looking very much like it does here right now. Lots of sunshine, some high thin cloud cover. Rip current risk around the Wilmington area. The south-facing beaches have a low or to moderate risk of rip currents for today. If you're headed to the beach over the weekend, just make sure that you always check that rip current risk before you get in the water. Temperature-wise, it's going to feel great at the beach. Temperatures will be in the low to mid 80s, but we do have a chance of afternoon and evening thunderstorms. However, what day during the summer do we not? That's a pretty typical summer pattern for us. We'll see the same thing again on Sunday for Father's Day. Over the mountains, nice range temperatures in the mid 80s. In the lower elevations around Asheville and Bryson City, up around Grandfather Mountain and Boone, temperatures will be in the 70s. And then same story, afternoon and evening storms. Our chance for storms goes up over the weekend. I'll walk you through the timeline coming up.
All right, Elizabeth, happening now in the WRAL Traffic Center. We got Durham Police working a crash this morning on I-885 in the southbound lanes. You can see it's off in the median this morning. Just really you're seeing some onlooker delays, really what you're seeing, coupled with the usual morning congestion that we see on I-885. We're seeing in both directions, actually. If you're heading into Durham this morning, you're looking at a 9-minute delay. If you're heading away from Durham, trying to get to I-40 this morning, just a 6-minute delay. Also, quite a handful of crashes dotting on live traffic map this morning, but none really that's causing any issues for you this morning. We're seeing a little bit of a slowdown there in the southern loop of the Beltline starting on Lake Wheeler Road, but once you get past Gortman Street, it's clear sailing all the way to the westbound lanes.
Nearly 1 in 5 in-network health insurance claims from plans sold on healthcare.gov were denied. And if your health insurance denies a test, a treatment, or medication your doctor says you need, don't rush to pay out of pocket. You have a guaranteed right to appeal that decision. The good news is, as 5 on Your Side's Keely Arthur explains, it's easier than you might think.
This is always difficult when this happens. So first, we want you to call the insurance company. Ask to speak directly to the reviewer who made the decision and get a clear explanation for why your claim was denied. Then we want you to file a formal appeal stating you disagree with the decision. As part of your appeal, ask for your doctor to write a letter that explains the necessity of the procedure and include as many supporting documents as possible, like medical records and treatment studies and any communication with the insurance company. The next step might be the hardest, waiting. It could take 30 days or longer for an answer. If you need treatment right away, make sure your request is an expedited review.
So if you get a letter that the insurer is still denying the claim, know that both Medicare and private insurance companies are required by law to provide the reason in writing, as well as explain how to appeal the decision with an independent third party.
5 on Your Side hears from many viewers about denied health insurance claims, and we try to help when we can. Tonight on WRAL News at 6, I'll tell you about Pete Kenny, a man who contacted 5 on Your Side after his knee replacement, which his doctor said he needed, was denied. I'll explain how we helped get him that surgery. Keely Arthur, 5 on Your Side.
And right back here in the WRAL Live Center, the Bureau of Labor and Statistics has just released the highly anticipated Producer Price Index. That is the amount, or number, I should say, that producers and manufacturers have to pay the retailers and distributors, and it is 0.1%. If that sounds familiar, that is exactly what the CPI, the Consumer Price Index, was yesterday. It rose 0.1%, and both were expected to rise 0.2%, so really not showing any tariff trouble out of those numbers right now. And Wall Street showing a dip in pre-market here, but as well as the Boeing crash taking everybody's attention here. Usually at this point, there's a lot of expert analysis about those new numbers coming out from the Bureau of Labor and Statistics. It's just not happening in that fashion today at this pace because news agencies occupy with a lot of other things today.
Absolutely. All right. Thank you, Jeff. Honoring the courage, service, and sacrifice of women veterans past and present. This morning, the Durham County Veteran Services Department will host the inaugural Women Veterans Recognition Day celebration. The event celebrates the incredible contributions of women who courageously served in the U.S. Armed Forces. Today's program takes place at 11 a.m. at 201 East Main Street in downtown Durham. And a new rule will allow players to protect their rankings during fertility treatments. The move comes as female athletes push to expand efforts to address fertility challenges. The Women's Tennis Association says the policy means that players can step away from professional tennis to undergo procedures like egg or embryo freezing and return to the tour with a protected ranking. The rule expands the WTA's existing support programs, such as maternity leave, postpartum support, and fertility grants.
Staying active all year round can provide a slew of positive health effects, but exercising outdoors in the summertime, it can be taxing. Athletic experts discuss ways that people can acclimate to the rising temperatures to keep themselves safe. Here's Gary Baumgarten.
Sometimes the summer heat can be so intense it's hard to just sit outside, let alone do an entire workout. And this season, the National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration predicts above average temperatures across much of the country.
1, 2, 3, 4.
But staying active year-round is good for our health, and there are ways to help prevent heat-related illnesses or death. For starters, you should allow your body time to adjust.
It has to be not just a day prior, but it has to be at least acclimation within a week. So that way you're able to prepare and to train and also just progress slowly, whether it's cool temperatures at first at night and then working your way up.
Once you've gotten used to the heat, you still need to be mindful about sun exposure.
Ideally, it's important for runners to find a shady route whenever they are training, especially if they're going any time frame that's over 15, 30 minutes.
Athletic experts recommend timing your workouts to maximize shade coverage.
Early mornings and late evenings are ideal.
Water is key, but so is staying hydrated with electrolytes to help prevent muscle cramps.
That plays a huge role, especially as we lose sodium as we sweat and work out.
Meanwhile, keep clothing light, short, and breathable.
All right. It's important to keep everything light and breathable today, too, because it's going to be warm out there. Let's get outside to meteorologist Elizabeth Gardner in the sunshine at WRAL Gardens. Elizabeth.
If you're going to be heading out to exercise, here's my pro tip. Do it before lunchtime this time of year. We had a really nice spring. You could exercise almost any time of day, but we're into that summer pattern that will stick with us for, all the way to September. So things are quiet across the southeast right now, but we do have the potential for some isolated storms to pop up later today. Here's lunchtime, and Futurecast is showing some increase in our cloud cover. We're pretty sunny right now, so we'll see how that goes. But certainly, as we get into the evening, a few thunderstorms start to pop up, mostly in our south or southwestern counties. This is 10, 11 o'clock. It's a very small chance for any showers or thunderstorms for it today. This is a look at the gardens behind me where it's just beautiful out here. A little bit on the hazy side because, it is summer. Our dew points climbed up to 69, so it's creeping up a little bit. It was very comfortable this morning, but the humidity is creeping up a little bit as well as the temperatures. We're looking at low to mid 70s currently across the area. And then closer to the triangle, it's 74 in Apex, 75 in Cary, 74 degrees in Garner right now. Around town, it's going to be hot, of course, 91 degrees. Our temperatures may drop a little bit with a good chance for rain over the weekend, but our muggy meter goes way up. Our dew points are going to be in the mid 70s, which is very high. So expect it to feel like mid to upper 90s to around 100 through the weekend and into early next week. Capital City Juneteenth celebration happens from 2 to 6 o'clock at Dix Park. We do have a 60% chance of thunderstorms during the afternoon on Saturday and an 80% chance on Sunday, unfortunately. So plan around it. Typically, it's going to be a little bit drier in the morning with a better chance for storms in the afternoon. Michelle?
All right. Thanks, Elizabeth. And before we go to break, here's a look at your winning NC Education lottery numbers. We'll get another check on weather and traffic next.